All right. Hey, welcome to the After Prison podcast, and we've got Banky.
Yeah, how y'all doing out there?
We've also got another special guest. This is our third guest on the podcast, Mr. John Chapman.
How y'all doing? Nice to see and talk to you guys again.
It is nice. This is the third time that I'm getting a chance to do something with you, John, a third or fourth time, but this is the first time that Banky's getting a chance to meet you. And real quick,
nice to meet you in person.
Absolutely.
I'm a fan online, but nice
I
to meet
am
you in
too.
person.
You're doing some nice things, some good things, some positive things. So that's what I'm about. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
real quick, I want to just ask from the initial meeting, John, what are your thoughts of Banky?
I'm actually impressed. His whole demeanor, his positivity.
Yeah.
I watch him on his YouTube channel. I think it's Banky Pounds.
Yeah.
And just
Blowing up right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I've been following him.
Appreciate you.
So he's getting some cooking.
Yeah,
I was excited to see him. I thought he came to cook.
He did say that.
I would have cooked, but the snow might keep us up here a little longer than we want to be here.
The hell it will. It's Super Bowl Sunday as we're filming this. Real quick, Banky, your impression of John, first impression.
Oh, I think he's an admirable dude. He's doing a lot of good things. Turning the negative into a positive. That's what I'm all about. He's doing that to the fullest, so I applaud him.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Good talk right there. One thing that I want to mention real quick as we begin this third episode of our podcast, the After Prison podcast, is we traveled for this podcast. So if you're seeing this on video, it's going to be totally different than hearing this on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else that you guys listen to the podcast. Audio-wise, this thing will be good. Video-wise, it may be a little tight, but we got a little bit more of a tight space that we're working with. John's got an awesome setup up here, but it is a little tight having three people in the shot. Mentioning that, Joel behind the scene, he's going to do the best that he can to put this thing together video-wise as good as we can put it together. And I want to give a special shout-out to John. You've got a new guy working with you in the audio-video technical department.
Yes, I absolutely do. David has been a blessing to us and definitely an amazing asset to the company. He was able to help me and the company move to be virtual. So now we are able to provide classes nationally. We ship out kits. They have full access to our trainer from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. 7 days a week. They can video conference through, everybody gets a company email. They do Google Classroom, are able to get in contact with the trainer, do video classes, get it all together. And that was all done by David and his ability to the audio video that I have no knowledge of.
I want to slow you down a little bit real quick, and I want to get Banky's input on this real quick as well. We're just getting a chance, all of us, me, Banky, Joel, we're just getting a chance to meet your guy, David. I've spoke to him on the phone before, but we get up here and we see the work that he's doing, helping get everything set up for this podcast, and then we hear a little bit of his story and the fact that he also is a felon who has served time. Is that okay to say? 100%. I wanted to make sure. Sorry, David. Hey.
Yeah, we tell everybody so.
But the reason I want to share that is because David's got a college degree in a totally different field, but is obviously because of his record, or from what he shares, because of his record, it's hard for him to find work doing what he went to school for. And now he's able to utilize other things that he knows how to do to help the JASIC or the JASA organization to go virtual, right? And I think that that's a super just amazing thing, and I think it speaks to a guy's, you can't really judge a book by its cover, I think is the point I'm trying to make, Banky.
Absolutely. It shows his tenacity and also, his will to survive, because if you get stopped in doing one thing that you are planning to do for the rest of your life, and you are able to cope and adapt and be able to do something else, to further, your career and get you where you want to go, that just shows you have a lot of versatility, and you're able to come through whatever it is that, may be thrown at you. So that's a good thing that he's doing. I mean, we seen him in here multitasking, doing 4 or 5 different things at one time, stuff that I probably ain't gonna never know how to do. So yeah, kudos to him.
Yeah, David's been a complete asset to the company, and like I said, it amazes us every day what he actually knows. And like a lot of us who are ex-offenders, there's a lot of potential in those prisons. A lot of them guys, when you get in there, the artist ability, you see them drawing, you see them rapping, they're banging on the table, making beats.
Hey, spit something for us real quick, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen. I said that a lot of times. I've seen a lot of amazing, intelligent individuals in prison, man. I mean,
So much potential.
Yeah, guys that I used to always say to myself, if they applied that same energy into something, legal, they'd be millionaires, multimillionaires,
All day
probably
long.
even billionaires.
Well, the reason I wanted to bring up the guy David in particular is because I wanted to coattail into talking about the school that you have, you, John, everything that you do, and everything that you do has now been amplified by what your guy David brings to the table, helping you get the school online and making it virtual. Now people don't have to be in the classroom. They can do this from a computer, a tablet. And John, before we hit your backstory again, because I want to refresh people who may not be familiar with who you are, tell us about JASA and what it is and what you guys do.
So what a lot of the reentry ex-offenders are lacking is basically
A trade.
a
skill.
the feeling that you could do something. I'm
Right.
trying to think what the word
Some
is.
motivation,
The
some
motivation,
inspiration.
the motivation. What a lot of the people are missing is the motivation, the fact that they can actually do it, because a lot of them don't believe in themselves
Or don't know how to do it.
or don't know how to or have no support
Right.
system. So we're here to not only train them to be in a trade so they can make a living in 4 years after they complete the program. They could be making around $65 an hour as an electrician.
But real quick, I want to jump in here because I don't want that to get misinterpreted. It doesn't take 4 years for a person to complete this schooling.
Not at all. It's actually a 40-hour class, and because it's online, if you want to, you can get it done in a week. It's set up as a 5-week program because a lot of people are working, and the nice thing about it being an online program is the fact that we all know if we're working at McDonald's because we just got out and nobody hires us. We're working at McDonald's, which actually the funny thing is they wouldn't even hire me. They said I was overqualified, so I couldn't get a job there. But we're struggling to live on that minimum wage.
No, for sure.
Even in Norfolk, I'm sure minimum wage you can't live. You can't. It's really hard to afford a rent or anything like that.
And let me throw this in here as well. We traveled 3 hours up here to where you are, John, and where the schooling is, or where the schooling initially was based out of. The cost of living up here is astronomical in comparison to where me and Banky are at.
Correct. So what you can do is you don't have to take time off of work. You come home from work, you feed the kids. If you're married, you take care of the family. Everybody goes to bed, 8, 9 o'clock. You log on to your online class, do it on your own time. Finish when you can. So we got people that take 10 weeks. We got people to get it done in 40 days or 40 hours.
What exactly are you training guys and girls to be able to do?
So we have several classes available. We have an electrical, which is my heart because I'm an electrician. So I actually have a Class A building license. But we have electrical, plumbing, HVAC, cybersecurity, web design, graphic design, and also how to use camera, like the same thing that David runs those classes, actually.
You can get certified in all of those.
We're fully
different
accredited
fields?
in all those fields. We also have orthodontic assistant. Wow. We don't have cosmetology, but we have barber, so you can be a barber.
Banky's a barber.
I am.
Are you?
Yes. What? Let me back up a minute. What is that an acronym, or how did you come up with the name?
JASA Inc. is I have a nonprofit.
Okay.
It's Johnny Appleseed Association.
Okay.
The real reason why I came up with that name, and it seems kind of silly, but back in high school, elementary school on up, Johnny Appleseed's name is John Chapman. I'm John Chapman.
How?
So my nickname all through school, and I hated it, right? It was Johnny Appleseed.
Appleseed.
Come over. Once we learned about Johnny Appleseed, that was my name from the rest of my schooling career. So then I was like, shoot, I'm going to use that.
Right.
I'm going to go with it.
I mean, it's catchy anyway, JASA Inc. So
Yeah.
I want to jump in real quick and just ask, with all of these different trades that you mentioned, are all of these 40 hours? Or I would imagine some of these got to be longer than the 40
Some of
hours.
these are longer, yes.
But the electrical,
Electrical, HVAC, and graphics design, they all are 40 hours.
So within 5 weeks or maybe 10 weeks if it takes longer, or as quick as, 1 week putting in 8 hours a day, a guy can be completing this program or this schooling and can be going and trying to get a job in that field.
We will assist in. We cannot guarantee you a job because you have to sell yourself in an interview.
Right.
And Banky, you probably know that when you go to an interview, you have to sell yourself. So you take what you learn, and if you show this guy who's interviewing you that you know how to do a 2-way, a 3-way switch and run it into the breaker box, you're golden. Because half the people out there that've been in the field for 30 years forgot how to do a 3-way switch because you don't use it very often. And so if you show that you learn that in a 40-hour class,
right,
you got your certification, and all you need is 40 hours of training to get your license. The rest is on the job training. You have to have a certain amount of hours to get your license.
Okay.
So all these other there's a lot of trade schools out there, and I'm not downing them, but if they're making you do $4,500 and $20,000 or more to take the class, you're almost not wasting your time. But why wouldn't you take the 40-hour minimum that you need of schooling and get your tail to work? We need to make money and go start, no matter what. Even if you did 2,000 hours of schooling, you still have to do the 1,100 hours of
on the
job training.
Right.
So you're almost double dipping for no reason, paying extra when you're going to learn more on the job anyway. You always learn more on the job. We train you enough to get your job. We train you enough so that you're an apprentice, so that your boss doesn't have to babysit you and tell you, hey, those are Kleins or Dykes. Dykes are corner cutters.
I had no idea, so I was about to be like, whoa, do we need a sense for that? Oh, Joe, that was funny. No.
A little while ago, you said when you tried to get a job or something at McDonald's, they said you was overqualified.
Yeah, so
John's got a story, Banky.
Yes.
I thought about that. That was in my head. I'm like, so you went from that to this. So tell me about that part.
So I was working at actually AOL. I worked at AOL.
I didn't even remember that.
Out in Ashburn, straight out of vacation. They hired me based off my background in my employment. I told them everything about the Disney ticket thing, which we'll get.
Hold on. Oh yeah, I thought that's where we were going.
I heard something about that. I wanted to know about that too. Go ahead.
So I told them about that. They laughed. They said it won't be a problem. I got all excited. They hired me. You literally, AOL's like, I got so excited. Like, you jump on a Segway and you ride to your office up there, and they're up in Ashburn. And
are they even still around? Is the AOL still a thing?
They are. They actually provide a lot of different services, apparently, but I was not even aware of it when I first interviewed for them. I'm like, AOL, like, you remember the ding, 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 ding? Yeah, but a week later, they called me and said I had to go down to HR. My background came back, and sorry, it was a pleasure.
But because you were a felon, you weren't going to be working there.
Exactly. Appreciate your time and effort. And it was kind of, that shot down. I'm sure every ex-offender's had that.
And that now they tell you, they're like, hey, look, don't even put that you're a felon, or, because a lot of people don't even really have to do it, because if it's been 5 years or more, there's that. But we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. And Banky hasn't heard your story, John, and there's going to be people who are watching this or listening to this saying, who is this guy and what is his correlation, or how does he relate to after prison in any type of way? John, you are a felon, you've served time, and your story is insane. So please, can we get a little of the background?
All right, so I moved here to Virginia in 2007 after my divorce as a single dad of 2 daughters. Met my neighbor, became involved with her and dating her. Had a child with her, just to kind of speed it along. Had a child with her in 2009. We were going to go to Disney World. We bought the tickets. We had a family of 6. She had a son. So together we had a family of 6. And it was crazy. We lost our income. Our finances went awry. We decided, we can't afford to go. And she said, you know what, why don't we, I'll sell them. So I put the Disney World tickets up for sale, and on Craigslist. It was the craziest situation, right? So I'm apparently a horrible criminal, they said, because I told the guy who's emailing me, I'm driving this type of car, my license plate number is this, I'll meet you at Taco Bell in Fair Lakes, which was right across the side street from where I lived. And it was quite funny because the the detective said that even if I didn't show up, he had all my information. I just gave it to him. He said, "You're a horrible film." So I pull into Taco Bell. I have my youngest daughter with me, who's like 3 months old. I back into the parking spot, and I'm looking at this Tahoe, and everybody knows what a Tahoe with blank rims are. Everybody knows, like, so I'm looking at it, but have no like worries because I've never had anything on my record, not even a speeding ticket at that point. Well, speeding ticket when I was younger, but I see him back out like a bat out of heck, back out, spin his tires, come all the way around, and come like he's gonna come head on to my vehicle, and then 15 more black Suburbans surround me, jump out the car, and tell me drop my keys out the car, and I'm in total shock because I'm like, don't even know. I'm like, they got the wrong guy, and I got family that are in the police department, you know, like in the field. So I actually thought it was a joke. I was like, what in the world? Until they put me in handcuffs and brought me away, I realized that it is not a joke. They charged me with, originally, it's funny, they charged me with 1 felony, obtaining money under false pretenses because I was not a legal ticketer. And then they released me after my girlfriend had come and posted $2,500 bond, which was 10%. And then, no, you know what? Hold on. Before she did the $2,500, I had to fight for that because they said I was a flight risk because I was from Michigan. And I said, but I'm got a family here. My mom is already living here. My siblings are here. We're like rooted, you know what I mean? I'm not going back to Michigan. I moved out of Michigan. Then she paid that. By the time we got home, they were waiting for me again. They grabbed me and they said they changed their mind. They were going to charge me with 3 felonies. I said okay, and he said he told her that, I don't want to put her name out there. He told her that that I'll be released. She can follow me. Oh, I went back and it charged her another $1,500 to release me, just like within 2 hours of her paying the first time. We get back to the jail again, and she paid it, get released, and it happened again. So 3 times I had to pay bail 3 times in one day.
Wow.
They decided after all that, they could come after me for 6 felonies for all tickets. And the detective said he apologized. He didn't know that he could do that, but then when they found out, so they did it again, and that time they released me for less. It was a lot less money, but it was still, I mean, you spend $5,000 a day kind of sucks.
Wow.
So,
You know, you get locked up for this, John. What the hell are you thinking? You got to be like, I mean, I've never heard of anybody getting locked up for selling tickets of any kind, you know, let alone Disney World tickets.
well, I can guarantee when I left, I was not going to Disney World. I was not going to. So they had me literally. It was almost actually. I think I was laughing, to be honest with you. Imagine a 27-year-old guy. I kind of never been in jail before. I kind of thought it was funny. You know, I got my leg chained to the wall, my arm chained to the wall, and like, did you do it? Yeah, you got me. I was like,
what they thought you was running a big ring or something, or
he
it's
said
just because you were selling a couple of tickets.
He said it was my unlucky day. They were scrolling Craigslist,
Just looking for a bust.
looking for a bust, and it was against the law to sell Disney World tickets. Apparently not other tickets, Disney World tickets. It's not scalping. It was something with Disney World. And so, which, by the way, in 2017, I can now sell them. It's no longer against the law.
Man, they must have not had nothing going on.
It was a slow day
in this town.
So you actually went to prison
Dude, yeah, they gave me 3 years, 9 months.
for some.
They told me so they pushed it back. They pushed it back for months. Almost a year, probably 10 months. I thought they were going to drop it.
I shouldn't have been laughing at that, but that is so crazy, right?
That's super crazy.
So what's crazy is you go to a prison and they got a nickname of Disney. You know what I'm saying? Like a Disney.
That's what they was calling you.
Yeah. I was trying to be. They were like, "What'd you do?" I beat up a guard, and they're like, "Somebody found out." You know, it's easy to find out. A word gets around, and they're like, "That dude got in here for selling Disney World tickets."
Wow.
So one of my actually my graphics design guy that I use,
Right.
I met him inside, and like I said, they pushed it back 10 months. So obviously finances were stressed on paying that attorney. So by the end, I had a pro bono attorney. Well, I learned the difference.
Yeah.
There's a slight difference
Yeah.
between a paid attorney and a pro bono one.
They're like 3 years difference.
Yeah, there's like 3 years difference.
Yeah.
Probably 3 years, 9 months.
Yeah.
He tells me, my pro bono attorney's like, man, it's go ahead and plead guilty. You're gonna end up with 3 felonies. It's not a big deal. I'm like, you know what? Is it gonna get me out of jail? Because I've never been to jail before. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go there. It's not my type of place. I guess it's not nobody's type of place, but it definitely wasn't mine.
Right.
So the attorney's like, it's gonna get definitely. So I plead guilty. You plead guilty on your own recognizance or whatever he said. Yes. You walk out, and then you come back for sentencing. As we're going back in, he comes back. He said, man, I just went and talked to the prosecutor. It's not looking good. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, they want to push time on you. I said, what do they want, like 30 days or something? I could do weekends or something. He's like, nah, man, they're like 5 years. I'm like, you just had me plead guilty. Like, I can't take that back. He's like, my bad. Like, my bad. Yeah. And so we're going in there, and I just kissed my girlfriend at the door and told her I'm getting probation. I'll be right out. She's outside in the car waiting for me to do my little thing, get back and drive me to probation. So the judge says 3 years, 9 months, state penitentiary. Boom. I turn and look at my attorney, and he says, I said, what that mean? It'll go by fast. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You ever do anything like that, Banky? Look at the lawyer and be like, hey, yo, what's that mean?
I wouldn't want to say his name, but he should be disbarred. He should be disbarred, man.
No, it gets worse. This guy, this guy turns and looks at the prosecutor and says, "What's for lunch?" as the bailiff is bringing me away.
Oh yeah, he should be disbarred.
So they was playing Monopoly with me.
Yeah, you was a pawn.
They is like, oh, this dude paid. I'll give you John for 200. And I'll take.
You should Google that, man. You might be the only person that went to prison for selling Disney tickets.
So it was so I get brought back to the back, and I call my girlfriend Collect. You get that one free phone call. I called her. She's like, "What happened? It didn't go as planned." Well, what happened? I got a little bit of time. Well, how much? Don't worry about it. I'll be home soon. She's got my kids that aren't even hers, so I don't want her to know that it's like 3 years, 9 months. I'm like, wow. So I tell her I'll be home real soon. Don't worry about it. So I don't have no money on my books. So I can't make no more phone calls. So she don't hear from me for like 2 weeks. And then I talk to this guy. I meet this guy on they call it the gentleman's club part of Fairfax County, because it's the new side.
This is in the jail.
Yeah, in the jail side. And he says, "Yo, I've been telling my attorney all about you, and he wants to meet you." I'm like, what? He want to meet me? He's like, yeah, man, he wants to meet you. I was like, well, tell him to calm me down. I don't, you don't mind getting out of jail every now and then to go talk to somebody. So I wasn't getting any visits or anything. Right. She was stuck home with the kids. So I'll go down and talk to him, and he's like, yo, John, you shouldn't even be here, man. He said, I've looked up your paperwork. I got everything that I pulled it all. He said, I want to take your case pro bono. I was thinking, like, thank you, Jesus, thank God, absolutely. Man. Like, how often does that happen? He want to do it for free? My last free one didn't do so hot. Yeah. And actually, it's not. I found out also because I had to pay him. Pro bono is not free.
Really?
I thought it was.
Yeah, it's supposed to be free to a certain extent. I think what they do is, the courts pay them anyway. The courts pay them. That's why it's never really, when you got a court-appointed lawyer, is,
you have all them fees afterwards of just paying them.
It's a conflict of interest because they're paying him, so they work together. So his paycheck is actually coming from the courts that he's supposed to be representing you for.
And he went to lunch with the prosecutor.
Oh yeah, they probably go golfing together too.
That's probably not that uncommon, to be honest. Yeah. They're probably all best friends, talking shit about you afterwards. Yeah. Well, you see what we did to John, though.
Yeah.
But he didn't see that coming. So we end up appealing it. I end up going on an ankle bracelet, going on work. They moved me over to work release, and dude, the feeling of when you get out of them jumpsuits and they give you your clothes because you're on work release, you get to wear your own clothes.
No, I don't know that feeling.
No.
No.
Well, when you got your clothes back, that feeling feels like you're a person.
Yeah.
When you got released and got your clothes
back. No, for sure.
I was like, man. And then they gave me a key. And I was like, what's this key for? That's for your room. I was like, I get what? I get a key for my room? And so it was crazy. I used to have a roommate. My roommate was an alcoholic. He was in there for three-time alcoholic, and he was still drinking in my room.
Wow.
So, which was crazy. I had a job right across the street from my house. So I would be able to actually, on work release, I'd leave early to head to work. I'd always ask for morning shifts because my kids would be at the bus stop. And I haven't seen them because they don't have no ride. I didn't even tell you guys my car got towed. It was in my name. She couldn't do nothing about it. I had the key, I had the keys. They wouldn't release it. We weren't married. My car got towed. It was like a year behind the year that I got arrested. So it was pretty new. Lost it because they towed it away. It was paid for. But, so she couldn't go nowhere, lost her job, ended up losing the house. But my kids used to be at the school bus as I was getting off the bus to walk to the Applebee's is actually where I was working. And so I'd stand across the street and watch them get on the bus because that was my only chance to see my daughters. And so it sucked because I couldn't yell their name. I couldn't say hi. I couldn't say anything like that. And because I didn't want them to know, like, they'd be like, why aren't you coming home? Why are, right. This doesn't make no sense. So it kind of sucked because it was good and bad. Like I said, I could see them getting on the bus, but I couldn't touch them, couldn't hold them. And are you a father?
Yes.
So being a father, it's hard.
Absolutely.
Dude, that was the hardest thing, especially being the only thing they had.
Right.
I mean, my girlfriend was there, but she wasn't their dad. Their mom is in other state, far across the U.S., so I was just sitting there staring at them for like 30 minutes while they were waiting for the bus and watched them get on the bus and then walked my way back to work. So about 60 days later, after that, by the way, this is 9 months into my sentence, I go, apply and I get put on house arrest. I don't know how that goes in Norfolk, if you know anybody who ever been, I'm sure you know somebody who's been on house arrest, but here it's $850 a month.
I know you got to pay for it. I can't remember what it is,
I
but
didn't know that. You got to pay to be on house arrest.
Oh yeah, it's the ankle monitor is what you're paying for.
Yeah, they're claiming it's $850 a month, but if everybody reuses that same monitor, I'd figure it'd be paid off by now.
It's the ankle monitor and it's the monitoring of that ankle monitor. It's expensive. It's like I want to say it was like $300 a week, $200 a week. Something. It's probably close to what you were talking about.
So figure the girlfriend don't have a job. We live in this expensive area. I'm paying the rent for our townhouse. I'm walking across the street to go to work. I'm working at Applebee's, which is not the most blown out restaurant that's going to make you money.
Right.
So what I started doing is talking to my probation. It's called a mentor, but he's a sheriff, an officer in the jail, and I remember his name even, but I won't put it out there. But I remember telling him, "Yo, I'm shy $350 this for this month, but I'll get it by Sunday." And this is like, you see him every Sunday. So he was like, I said, I'll get it by next Sunday. He's like, no, I understand. Because what I did is I paid my family's rent to make sure they weren't going to be put out. And I skipped my payment. And so he told me, that's fine. Sunday's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, the next day, he was leaving for vacation. He was taking the week off. But he said, don't worry about it. The next day, I got that loving bang on the door. Everybody knows that bang. That boom, boom, boom. I go walk downstairs half dressed because it's like 6:30 in the morning. They said, come on, you're coming with us. I said, can I go upstairs and say bye? No, you're coming with us. So I'm yelling her name up there to come down. She's yelling back down, leaning down because 6:30 in the morning, we're barely awake. She's like, who is it? I said, man, they're taking me. I said, so they charged me with theft of Fairfax County property.
For the ankle monitor.
Yeah, because I didn't pay for it. Brought me back to the AIB building, which is all the work release. I was there for 3 days until they put me in solitary confinement for 90 days.
Why'd they do that?
Because because I got convicted for theft of which was a joke because it was like they call it petty court or petty court or something because it's inside court. It was an inside charge.
Okay.
And so they
that was your sentence was 90 days in 90
isolation. 90 days in isolation.
Jesus.
And I ate on Sundays.
So the sheriff that originally told you it was cool. He didn't come back.
No, he came back.
And he didn't try to.
He came
straighten
back.
it?
He's like, my bad. My supervisor, yeah, my bad. That was that same my bad. You know, like, oh, my bad.
I forgot to tell him that
there was some-
you got an IOU. You know, John, you caught all these damn bad breaks. You know, when anybody hears this, they got to be thinking to themselves, or at least I'm thinking, it's like, man, this dude's got the worst luck in the world.
When I was sitting there, I was thinking the same thing. And then then what I did is the crazy stuff is you get the opportunity to appeal. So I appealed, and 3 days later, I got my appeal finally. They go, bzzz, and the big door opens. I walk out, and he's like, I'm here to do your appeal, and it's the same dude, right, who did the first one. So I turned around and walked to my cell and shut the door.
Because you already knew you were going to lose.
And he's like, Mr. Chapman, don't you want to appeal? I said, what's the point? It's the same person I'm going against. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense that anything's going to come out differently. So I shut the door and went back in there. And in Fairfax, I don't know if it's the same way now, but solitary, you are butterball naked in your solitary confinement. You eat. Well, you have a chance to eat if you want to. You can eat this thing called a loaf.
Yeah.
And then you get regular food on Sunday. So I denied all food and ate on Sundays. So when I got out 90 days later,
90 pounds later.
I was like, I could use that actually.
Yeah.
But it was a heck of a diet. I should do the whole only eat on Sundays thing. But I got out, and I have pictures on my Facebook page of it, and showed my kids. They remember they didn't even recognize me when I got released, because I didn't even look like the same person. I was sunken. My face was sunken in. Actually, I got the full tour. I had the new side, the pre-release center for work release. I got to come home for a little while. They threw me in the old side. My roommate killed 6 people. He was waiting for his sentence over a lunch. Somebody threw his lunch on the ground, and he shot them all.
Jeez.
And so it was funny, because one of the was a crazy story. I remember, you know how they give you those dollar store bread sandwiches with whatever that meat is on it?
The sweat meat sandwiches.
Yeah. And there was one shy, and he didn't get his. I was like, here, man, have mine, because I ain't going in the cell with you if you hungry. I seen it on the news. I seen it on the news. He was actually a pretty cool dude, though, actually.
Yeah, just, you know.
Just had a little problem, that's all.
Just shot 6 people.
After all of that was happening, like Joe said, you was catching all them bad breaks, then what was the spark, or what was the thing that happened that just turned everything around?
So, God is good is all I got to say, because I feel like I had to go through that to be the person I am today.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we get to the top, if we don't take it properly, he has to kick us behind the knees, drop us down. Because back prior to this, I was like, ex-offenders, like, you did it. Like, deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny how people think, and people still think like that.
Absolutely.
And so I was like, man, they said now you're saying that they can't find a job. Maybe they shouldn't have done that. Now I got a whole new look on things. When I got out, I couldn't find a job. Couldn't find anything. Went to a pest control company. The gentleman, Max, he's actually a really good friend of mine. He lives in Texas right now. He's got close with my family. He hired me knowing my story. And then just a little speed version, just before I was about to leave from my interview, and this is, by the way, I'm in a shelter by now with my daughters. I'm in a shelter. I lost my place, lost everything. I'm out. I'm in the shelter out in Falls Church. Talk about humbling. There's nothing more humbling than having nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For sure.
I literally put my last $20 in gas to drive 30 minutes down the road to go to this interview. So when he hired me, I had to humbly put my foot in the door as he's saying thank you. He'll see me Monday and say, yo, any way you can spot me so I can get to work until payday?
You know how many people hear that type of stuff and think, oh, yeah, this dude's getting high. You know? This dude's messing up. But your situation was totally different, John. And I hate the fact that we've got this abbreviated version going from everything to where you are right now, because there's so much in between. But anyways, just continue with this, and we're going to try to touch on some of them other things that led to all of that.
Okay. So he calls me back in his office and is like, unfortunately, a technician doesn't get a company truck except for during the day. You can't bring it home. So I can't give you fuel for your personal car, but what I can do is make you a manager, and a manager gets a company car. do you have some time on your hands? I said, sure. And he takes me up to the Ford dealer and gets an F-150 and literally gives me the keys.
Bought a brand new vehicle for him.
I go, it's not in my name, but it's a company car, and I'm a manager now, which means my income went way up from where I was going to be hired originally. I go back to the shelter. They're like, how did the interview go? And I'm like,
Yeah.
pretty darn good. You know, like,
Yeah.
I got this brand new truck.
Yeah, you should have shouted him
I was
out, 'cause
flexing, man.
That's a good guy right there.
So, man, Max is my people. Actually, he wants to come work for me now. He doesn't work there anymore. Works for a company in Texas, and he wants to come train pest control. And he's very interested in that or opening up an office out in Texas through me. So he's, like I said, he's close to my kids. He babysat them for me. He did even more than hire me because after working for him for 2 months, he couldn't believe I was still in the shelter. And the reason why is try finding a place to live saying, yo, I'm in a shelter. The shelter's going to put first month's in security down. I've only been at my job for 2 months. And by the way, I'm a 6-time felon. Where do I sign?
Yeah.
Especially being in this area right here, John, because this is, people are going to turn their nose up quite a bit.
Real quick.
Yeah, they're going to turn their nose up quite a bit to the whole felon thing. I want to mention this real quick because we haven't, for anybody who doesn't know your story, I want to give them some kind of closure to the whole thing. You were in the jail, still going through this appeal process with this lawyer that just took a liking to your case because he saw how railroaded you got. And, just walk us through what would be the finality of the whole.
So he was able to get it changed over to be that I got 3 years probation and 9 months.
So you had time served versus the damn near 4 years that they sentenced you to.
Correct, which it was like I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Because I know it's not what my ears heard.
Yeah.
What?
Huh?
And how much time had you served prior to being released?
Prior to being released, they made me serve the full 9 months. So I had to when I got done with my 90 days of solitary, I had 2 more months to go.
So
which was a blessing to me because of what I had originally had coming at me.
And it would be because of all of the time that you were locked up, almost a year, and because of all the time that you were locked up for, that everything would fall apart in your life. Would you and the girl stay together?
About 3 weeks before I was being released, I would call her, and this was the most heartbreaking thing for any man, I'm sure, is you get the woman on the phone crying hysterically saying, I don't know what to do. The police are here. They're evicting us. They said I got 30 minutes to grab anything that I needed to grab. The rest they're going to deal with. She had no family. She's got all women in her family. No, there's no guys. And so she basically grabbed shirts and clothes and grabbed whatever she could. I said, forget about my stuff. Just grab the stuff for the kids. I'll deal when I get home. I'm freaking out. I can't do nothing. And her phone goes dead. And that was the last time I heard from her. And until I got released in September the 10th at midnight. And I didn't know if she was going to be there. Because if it was me, I would have been like, I just lost everything. She didn't have a car that I knew of. She had gotten a minivan donated to her, a purple minivan. So when I walked out of that, they give you your little coins, tokens or whatever, bus tokens at midnight to ride. I had no place to go. I walk out at midnight. It's cold out. I'm in shorts and a tank top because that's what I was arrested in. Taken in because, like I said, they came to my house and grabbed me. Just so everybody's like, you went to court with shorts and a tank top? No, they came and arrested me after.
It was 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So I had I grabbed a pair of shorts and had my wife beater on. So it's a little cold out. And there she was. She was parked in the parking lot waiting for me. I didn't even know it was her because it was just a car. And when people say that your spouses or your family go through it with you, do your time with you, she's already an hourglass thin woman. This woman, you saw her bones from the stress that she's been through. And for me to see that, I was hugging her and excited to see her, but I was in tears at the same time to see what I did that.
Right.
Whether I did it on purpose or not, it was me that caused that. And so that was kind of broken for me. And I mean, that's my daughter's mom. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and you don't want to see a stranger be like that, let alone somebody that you love.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was, I think, the roughest part of the whole thing. And then to find out that my kids were taken by my ex-wife. So, I've backdated that a little bit. I got a letter while I was in the hole, and she said, haha, just so you know, I got the kids. Found out you were in prison, came and got them. So she took the kids. And my girlfriend was like brokenhearted because they were like her kids at the time. And she was just like, she said when they came and tore them out of her arms, basically, and the girls were reaching for her, that was just, my kids were 6 months old and 2 years old when they met her. So that was mom. Even though mom's in Michigan, they don't talk to mom. They basically got taken by a stranger. And so while I was in the hole, I did nothing but put my court case together. I spent my whole time, you ain't got nothing better to do. So I would get my paperwork done. If Exhibit A1, boom, 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 boom. I went and sent a letter to the courts, and I had a court date. I was released on a Friday. I got a bus to Michigan. I had court Monday morning. And I got him back. Like God is good. I mean, what's the chances that I have no attorney, she has an attorney. I'm going like Exhibit 1A. Every time he shoots something back at me, I shot it right back at him. The judge, she's like, but Your Honor, he's a felon and he just got out of prison. He's like, Mr. Chapman, did you break out of prison? I was like, no. He's like, then Mrs. Chapman, he was doing it on purpose because that's not even her name. She's remarried. Mrs. Chapman, I don't want to hear about that. That has nothing to do with this case. Right. I'm like, that's only God, because you're never going to hear no judge say that felon had nothing to do with court. Yeah. Because we know they bring stuff up from freaking kindergarten. Yeah. He colored in the wrong place when he was a kid. So I actually got my kids back that day, visited my mom, and rode a bus back to the, believe it or not, the shelter, because I didn't tell the courts. Rode the bus back to the shelter, started my job. And then that's where I was getting ready to tell you guys about the other thing that that Max had done for me. I couldn't find a job a house, because of, number one, being a convicted felon. Number two, I 2 months on the job only, and I'm coming from a shelter, and they're putting. You think that helps first month in security being paid, but not when you're in the shelter. It showed you failed. In my head, I was a failure as well. This dude co-signed for me. He don't know me from nobody. He co-signed. He told this landlord that if John does not pay, or if I am forced to fire or lay him off or let him go for any reason, I will pay the first year all the way up. If everything doesn't go good on the first year, then we can move him out, and we'll sign on that and notarize. I got a 3-bedroom condo. I lived in that condo 10 years, so I was so scared to move. I was making good money already, but I was scared to move, man. Once you've been through that homelessness, and my kids that look in their eye, looking at me, I was using my last dollars to give my daughter that, like, go to McDonald's, buy him a Happy Meal. Daddy, aren't you? My oldest would say, Daddy, aren't you hungry? No, honey, I'm fine. Starving, my stomach rumbling. She finishes her food and goes to throw it out with a half a burger, and I. Die for that. Let me get that.
I mean, you hear this type of stuff, and it's almost like that movie, like The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, and I don't mean to be saying that like laughing. It's so crazy to hear about the things that you have been through, John. And, we mentioned the whole string of bad luck, because from the time that you get released, it's like all of that turns around, and it's all like, lucky breaks and good luck things that happen. You meet the guy Max. The guy goes and gets the brand new truck and co-signs on the place for you. You had lost everything, and now, you're
slowly coming back.
You get hired as a manager. Hey, not only am I going to hire you, I'm going to buy you a brand new truck. So you're good there. John, where does the Johnny Appleseed Association come into play?
So Max leaves that company, and I leave with him. When he leaves, I'm like, had no interest because of the way it all went down. When they let him go, I walked. I had saved up enough that I was, like I said, once you've been homeless, and like I said, I was making darn good money and not paying much for rent because of where I was at, but not wanting to move. So I was able to save up a little nest egg. So when I left, I went and applied for a job as a assistant director at a nonprofit, and they hired me. I ran the different programs and all of that. It was a food pantry, and we paid people's rent, and they ran out of funding, and I worked for free there for about 4 or 5 months, hoping that food. I kept telling them, "Yo, we need to start training people, because these people are here every week." It was cool. It's like, "Yo, what's up, Chapman?" When they were coming in to get the free food. I was like, "Not much, man. How you doing? Things are going good." But you see the same people coming. I'm like, man, if we teach these people, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man a fish, he eats for a lifetime. That's my favorite slogan. That's on our website. That's what I live and breathe by. But I was like, yo, and the director there was like, "Nah, man, we've been a food pantry all like for 30 years. This is where the money's at for them for funding." Well, they're closed. And it's sad because it was a really good organization. The elderly man that passed away that opened it, really his heart was there, and it's sad to see it gone. And I opened up Jazza Inc. 3 days later. I filed for the business license, got everything going, did Johnny Appleseed Association. The guy at the county was funny. He was like, "I like the idea where you're going with it, but Johnny Appleseed, that's not going to fly." It's like, it's whimsical. I said, "Yeah, but people remember it." And so I started out handing out free food, helping people. I had a whole computer lab in the middle, and it was the same type of good luck happened. I found a building, an office, about a year into doing it. I was originally in a county building. My mentor was letting me use like a room the size of this as my office space. But I found an office that was 2,800 square feet, and they were giving me 4 months free. I'm a heck of a negotiator. I have sales and marketing was my schooling, and so I got 4 months free nonprofit, so they get their tax write off for it. But I had to come up with $2,300 to be able to get the keys, which is security deposit. And I get on the phone with my mentor. He's like, "I got a guy that'll probably help you out, but I don't know." And so at 11:30 at night, I'm supposed to pick up the keys at 9 in the morning. 11:30 at night, the gentleman for the organization calls me. We talk. We're laughing on the phone. His wife thinks he's crazy because he's like, "Yeah, man, I got you." He said, "I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do the whole thing, but I'm gonna see what I can do. And just come meet me at such and such bank, and I at least got 500 towards you." Well, me being like a man of faith, I was like, "Yo, 500 is better than nothing. That's something towards it." My buddy who was working with me, who's not with the company anymore, he was like, "I'm just gonna sit in the car. That's a waste of our time." So my buddy was in the car, and he said, like, "This is a waste of our time. He ain't gonna do it. I don't know what to do." I said, "Dude, you have to have faith, man. We have to have faith." I go in there, and he's like, the gentleman was like, he's one of my sponsors. He's like a sponsor for life for what he did. I go in there, and he said, "Yo, I wasn't able to do a whole amount. I was only able to do 500. His banker looks at him. He hands me an envelope. I said, "Thank you so much, man. I'm blessed. Anything you could do, I'm blessed." He said, "Yeah, man, no problem. Go ahead and open the envelope." I opened the envelope, and I'm busting into tears. The dude had the full amount written on that check. He paid the whole amount for me to get that building, that office space. And to show where my faith was, I came to the bank with a moving truck full of all my furniture. I had all the furniture I had picked up on Friday from a company that was going out of business. They donated a bunch of furniture that was actually, it's kind of like that table right there. I had a bunch of it, all brand new furniture. They only had it for like 2 years. And TVs and copy machine and all that, all in this rental truck. I rented a truck, drove it to the bank, and I'm like, "We're getting this building." Okay. I can feel it. You have that feeling, You
willed it into existence.
And so when he gave me that check, when he gave me that 500, I was so blessed. I was like, "It don't even matter. You gave me something." He's like, "Aren't you going to open the envelope?" And I just kind of looked at him like, "Yeah, sure." You're like, and it was a whole amount, man. I literally was in tears, like grown-tailed man crying, man.
Yeah.
Like we made it, like
Blessings.
What? And my buddy just kind of looked at me like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I told you we were getting in here. I told you." So I called the building. I'm like, "Yo, we're on our way." Give me the key.
So this was the beginning of the Johnny Appleseed Association.
Correct.
And what year was all of this taking place?
This is 2014 when I got the building.
So we're in 2021 right now, and John, the organization is still going and going strong, going stronger than ever, actually.
Correct. We've actually, due to some problems that are going on in the world today,
Right.
we the COVID thing, we actually took the whole trade school and we went totally virtual with it, which is amazing. Johnny Appleseed Association turned into a scholarship program for anybody to go into any trades, and it doesn't have to be through our trade school because it could fund anybody, or assist with going to trade schools. And what it is it's the Nancy S. Chapman Scholarship Fund is what it funds through. We also feed on a weekly basis. We give out, I think we give out 250 families. We feed fresh produce and canned goods and everything. We go get a whole box truck full of it and we feed them. We have the police department come out with their squad cars and fill their cars up with food and take it out to the community. Got pictures of that. That was wow. Kind of cool. Originally, David was laughing at me because I have anxiety. And so when a cop pulled up and was sitting out there, they were just sitting. I'm like looking out the window, like, dude, locked. I think I did, like, we're not home, like. He's laughing. He's like, no, man, they're here to pick up food. It's okay. I'm like, all right, cool. So
crazy to think that he's okay with it too, considering his background. So, some people just deal with it better.
Yeah. I'm like they come behind me, I make it right,
One thing that I want to mention is it was just probably a year ago, John, when I came up here, the first time that I came up here. And back then, that was the first time that I was getting a chance to see the schooling, the Johnny Appleseed Association schooling, where you do the electrical. And were you doing anything else during that time?
We had electrical and plumbing.
Yeah, I wanted to say that it was more than just
the kitchen side. So we had the plumbing side and then the electrical room. We were at the big building. We moved from the big building because there's really no reason to pay for all that when nobody's coming to school.
Well, the reason that I bring it up is because back then when I first got a chance to see all of this, they were doing it in person. And it was crazy coming in and seeing these guys and hearing their story. I think everybody had just come home and was hearing about the organization from being locked up. You even got involved with guys who were serving time. You guys are actually in the jails and prisons.
We're in 3 different jails, and we're in a Coffeewood prison.
Wow.
So now guys can actually take the schooling while locked up to come home and be ready to rock and roll with a good job.
Their last 3 months of their time, they're able to enroll in one of our programs, cost them $0 out of pocket. Not even a honey bun.
Okay, John.
Yeah.
Zoom, wham.
So you mean to tell me that like you had no training, you had never had a business, your own business or anything before you started this? You had never even ran a business?
No, I didn't. I did not. I started the definitely never knew nothing about the nonprofit side. I started this originally, like I said, as a nonprofit, and then it kind of evolved into a trade school. And then once it got to the trade school, it turned to the trade school being the for-profit and the nonprofit being a scholarship fund. My mom passed away, unfortunately, suddenly and unexpectedly, October 2017. And so we put a Nancy S. Chapman scholarship together, in her name. And yeah, we've been going ever since. The school has grown. We're inside the jails virtually. So we bring in the kits, we set it up on the TV, the trainer's talking to the guys are talking to the trainer. It's kind of an amazing concept. Thank you, David.
It's like what he just said though a little while ago when he said about the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. Man, your life is a movie. It's a movie, man.
It's been a blessing.
Yeah. And that word that I kept trying to think of when because he was trying to explain a little bit of your background to me on the way up here. And how all them things was happening now, all them bad things turned into good things and stuff like that. It's like another movie I seen, like Serendipity.
Yep.
And I think that's what the word means. A lot of coincidences that's fortunate for you, and you start getting a lot of serendipity.
I met Joe. It was about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, but was on the show. I've had several people come to me and have partnered with us since then.
And, you know, look, not to toot my own horn, but I definitely want to do that for a moment. And more so, not even my own horn, but the people who rock with what I've done after Prison Show. Because of After Prison Show and featuring John, partnerships and opportunities had come your way. I remember talking to you a year ago after first featuring you on After Prison Show, and you had mentioned companies reaching out wanting to donate materials and tools.
Correct. They are. We get wire donated for the classes. We get tools donated for the classes, and the same company continues to do so. We have a gentleman who drove all the way from New York, I think it was last week. We talked to him. He's going to be opening 5 locations in New York.
Wow.
So he owns a, what is it, where you rent a bunch of people who rent houses. They maintain property management companies.
Yeah, property management. To continue with what I was saying, you know, it's so amazing to know it's not because of me. It's because of the people and the stories and the people who watch these videos and what they do. So this has nothing to do with me. I wanted to clarify that real quick. But not only has it happened in your life and with the Johnny Appleseed Association, it's happened for Banky. I mean, somebody donated a car to Banky.
That's what's up.
Yeah. I came home, you know, nothing. And, you know, I was gone for 33 years, you know, straight. So, I heard
A couple things have changed, huh?
Yeah, you know, so that's why I was saying when you were saying about, you know, going from there to the work center now, I don't know nothing about that. I went in, I ain't come back for 33 years later. I didn't even put my clothes on right there. I ain't want to stop for nothing. I was
Peace.
I wanted to get gone. I changed clothes when I got.
You went to go get some food.
Yeah,
that's what I know I would do. 33 years, I'm gonna go get something.
Yeah, so you know, but you know, from what you did, man, like I said, that is very admirable.
All right, so we just had to switch a battery in the camera. Damn, I haven't even been looking at you guys at all. How y'all doing over there? I'm only thinking about this for the audio. So if you're listening to this right now, I hope you're enjoying this. Continuing to talk about what you're doing with the Johnny Appleseed Association. I can't remember where we left off at.
Oh, we left off about when you were saying about what the people did. And I was saying, he was saying, yeah, they got me a car.
Yeah.
You know, I had been out for a couple of months, and then one of the supporters, they had just called me and said, look, I'm going to need you to go up to this place, a car place and whatever, and all you have to do is go up there and give them your name. And
it's waiting for you. Whoa.
Paid for. In my name, put the car in my name and everything. Said they just wanted to do it because they liked my platform. They appreciated the positivity and the energy that I was putting out. Bought me a car. I you know what I'm saying? I was ecstatic. I ain't, you know.
You didn't even know what to do, right?
Absolutely. Nothing like that. A nice car.
That's enough to make a grown man get a little teary-eyed there.
I've had them.
Yeah. That's claim to fame. That he had me on camera.
He's I got that.
And I'm trying to tell him. I wanted to tell him, hold up, Joe, stop the camera for a minute, you know. But I kept
hold on, hard. I've been to prison. Hold on.
Let me get a little closer on that. But now, in all seriousness, though, we were talking about some very powerful stuff.
Yeah.
To continue on with everything that you've got going on, John, one thing that I want to ask you is, you know, for as long as this class or this organization has been together, you know, how many people have successfully completed this class? And if you don't know off the top of your head, you know, give me a ballpark of how many guys and gals have been through this thing. And you can probably, you know, say that you've probably helped better their lives.
Close to 1,000 have gone through our program in general with the electrical. We've helped more than that with helping with rent, utilities, paying for their utilities, food.
You just bought a woman a
Christmas. Car. Yes, actually, that's a crazy story. So there's this woman who's applied to get into the electrical program. We gave her the Nancy S. Chapman Scholarship. She's a single mom. She was struggling, and we sent her the kit. And about 2 weeks later, my office manager, Alexis, was calling to find out, like, why she hasn't started the class. And I guess she didn't answer, or she said she'll call right back. So then I called her a couple days later and was like, hey, I was wondering what's going on. She said, I'm just in a bad spot. I don't even know if I could do this. I don't, like, basically didn't believe in herself. And I'm like, yo, you can do this.
Right.
You got this daughter who's going to be 2 years old. You can do this. So she tells me, finally she breaks down on the phone, and we end up being on FaceTime. And she's like, somebody T-boned her car and totaled it. And she had liability only. And so I said, we can work through this. We'll get you a vehicle. This. She said, no, I got nothing. I wait tables in Michigan. Restaurants are closed. And so I said I'd figure it out. I went online, start looking, and called a couple people, looked around, and ended up actually having a Grand Cherokee Limited delivered. Actually, Trackhawk. It's something like that. A Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. I forget what it is, but it's a Grand Cherokee, fully loaded, all leather interior, everything. Had it just delivered to her house, brought it to her, and
yeah, no big deal, John.
So,
You know, I mean, that's amazing stuff that you're doing and what you do with the organization as well.
It seems like a lot. I mean, it does. It seems like a lot, and it was not no pennies. Don't get me wrong. It was money to pay, but David was right there on the FaceTime, and he can even tell you she was in tears, crying hysterically, tears like somebody just killed somebody. What do you want from me? Nobody's ever done this for me. Nobody's even helped me with a tank of gas. You just gave me a whole car. The title's in my name. Everything's in her name. Everything's done. I have no connection to it. Asked nothing from her. She's wondering what I want from her. I want nothing from you. I want you to believe in yourself and get your tail in that class. That's what I want you to do. Sign into the class and show everybody that they're wrong and that you can do this. You can be successful. And as a woman in the electrical field, you're going to end up going far and be a supervisor. And then you're going to end up owning your own company. And what I want from you is I want you to call me and say, hey, I need 4 people to come work for me. That's what I want.
That's amazing, man. And then she probably was overwhelmed, like I said, because of the fact that most people are not that generous. And she's probably never experienced that before. But also, too, like I say, it wasn't so much as the monetary value of the car. It's just the fact that it was life-changing because it changed her life. You know, it gave her some more independence to be able to do what she wanted to do. Because that's how I felt when the person gave me the car. It
don't even matter what kind of car it was. That's what she said, too. She said it could have been anything. Yeah, it's the fact I got wheels.
I did the show with him, and we was talking about getting me a car, and he had asked me, you know, on the video, like, what kind of car? I said, yeah, I would like to have a Jaguar, one of the older ones or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, because I liked it.
Yeah.
So when I actually got the car, people was hitting me in the comments saying, oh, it's not a Jaguar. It ain't a Jaguar. I was like, it's a Jaguar to me. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, it is.
It's a Jaguar to me. I had nothing. So it helped me get my independence. So I'm forever grateful to the person who donated me the car. Shout out to you. You know who you are. And I'm sure she feels the same way.
That's exactly what she said. She said she don't care if it could have been a Pinto.
Yeah.
Because it's getting her to work. Yeah. Her daughter and her can go to the store. Her daughter can, you know, like, because she was stuck.
I know.
She was about to lose her home because you can't do anything. And in Michigan, I don't know how over here we got a little bit with Metro. In Michigan, we don't. Yeah. There's no busing. There's not. It's horrible.
Wow.
You don't have a car, you're not going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, sorry. Go ahead, Megan.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I don't know about that, but I know after 33 years, I came on. I only been on a couple of months. My Metro was, can you give me a ride here?
Exactly.
Right there? So
you're depending on other people.
I was depending on my niece, my sister, anybody to give me a ride somewhere.
And blessed when they would do it, but it's still hard for you to control timing.
What they got to do, I'm infringing on their independence. Mm-hmm. So whenever they was doing something, I was just stuck at home. So like I say, she changed my whole, perspective and gave me my independence by being as generous. And she did that just from watching my videos and getting something from it. So that
awesome.
Just encouraged me more to push more of what I was doing and put more of what I was doing out there in the universe. I'm sure that's the same thing with the woman. You gave her that, and you probably going to encourage her to go through, the class.
She's in the class right now, exactly.
She's probably going to be
and
super
I told
successful.
her, I said, I totally know the feeling, because when I got out, I had a suspended license. Didn't even know I had a suspended license, because for Disney World tickets, they were suspending your license based on your court fines back then. So I had to take a bus, and it would take me 4 hours to go somewhere that should have taken you like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was a crazy situation. Actually, I just saw Dave got his license. Shout out to Dave. That was awesome.
Shout out to old Dave.
He got driver's license?
Yeah, he's rocking.
He pushing now.
I thought I did see a video, saw him walking away from a car, but he might be just walking to you. I thought he was walking away from a car.
He's driving now.
He's driving. I was like, shout out to Dave.
Yeah,
for one split second, did you consider naming your company Disney?
Yeah, no. We will not be going vacationing at Walt Disney World.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
there's just so much in relation to what you got going on, John, what you've been through. Your whole story is the pursuit of happiness in real life, but the pursuit of happiness was based on a true story too. So let me not discredit that.
Yeah, I actually just found that out. I didn't know that. I thought it was just a story done in a movie, but it was legit. That was awesome.
In that movie, when that dude walked by at the end of the movie, that is the actual dude.
At the end
that is the actual dude. When
that was some man. He went through some stuff.
And he walked by that guy at the end of the movie. That is the actual.
That's
dude.
a tear-jerker movie right there.
Yeah.
John, you've moved to doing this virtually now because of COVID, and you would imagine that COVID would limit and set things back, and in so many cases it has, but in relation to the schooling, it's only given you guys the opportunity to be able to work with more people now.
We've actually been able to help more people due to being shut down, which sounds silly. Because of the virtual, we're now national. We got a student in California. We got one in Michigan, like I said. I believe we have one that had called in from South Carolina. And we have a prosecutor from South Carolina that called us that wants to start sending people our way. She found us on your channel. And
I mean, there's a lot of things that be happening because of After Prison Show, and I don't be hearing about none of this stuff.
1 point something million people, man. That's a
Banky,
lot of people.
You're gonna be next, Banky.
So like I had told you earlier, is a gentleman from, again, your channel called and drove all the way from New York. He called us forever ago, but due to COVID, New York wouldn't let him leave.
Right, yeah.
And they finally opened him up, and he drove down here, and when he goes back, he had to quarantine for 14 days. But he came here anyway, met with us for a good couple hours, and he's going to be opening 5 locations throughout the whole state of New York.
JASA organizations in New York.
The trade schools.
Oh, yeah, and real quick, in relation to moving everything online, how crazy is it to think of the people that you were helping in person versus the amount of people that you're able to help now virtually, and how that has multiplied, and however those numbers have jumped up? And it's probably in no small part because of the relationship now with this new guy, David, right? I mean, is this like pretty much entirely him bringing the online presence to you guys?
He took our course that we already had, and this is in his words, because I always just throw the whole thing and say thank you so much for everything he's done. But he took what we had on paper and built a whole platform to make it virtual. He turned the whole thing virtual. We literally were shut down. Everybody was shut down since March, I think, somewhere around there. We took 2-3 months, and we literally shut ourselves in this office, didn't go home, recording, doing everything, eating here. We had Netflix on the TV screen, video recording, bringing different people in to record, doing everything, putting this thing together. No money coming in. We stopped doing any classes because you can't have them inside.
Right.
So we just focused on turning this thing virtual. And everybody was like, one of my trainers was like, this ain't going to happen. What you need to do is call your landlord, cancel your lease, and close up and hope for the best. And I was like, yeah, I kind of got too much into this to be calling it quits. There ain't no way that God got me this far to tell me to close up shop just because of COVID. And when David showed me what we put together, I was like, huh? Because when he was first doing it, we bought the camera. We videoed, and I saw it choppy, and I'm not a video person. I don't know anything about copying and moving. I'm like, how's he going to make a class, taking 3 minutes of me talking, 3 minutes of my office manager, Alexis, talking. Then he even got on the camera, was talking. Our other trainers were all coming in doing talking. And all of a sudden it's done, and it's got this thing where it spins my logo around in a circle with some music going. And I'm like, now how in the heck did you do that? I'm looking at my computer like my computer doesn't do that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, because I don't know none of that stuff.
So he'll laugh and say, I went out and bought me one of them computers. I don't know what to do with it, but I have one. Yeah. I don't know.
And again,
but definitely all the prompts to David for doing that. He's a heck of a videographer.
Yeah, I say that's what my son does too. I send him videos, he send them back all.
He does my family photos. Yeah. He shot out my family photos with different backgrounds.
Shout out Dave, man.
So
shout out to Dave, man. Super Dave.
And he's a felon, man. That's the whole point that I was trying to make. He's been to prison. You know what I mean? You got a dude who's been to prison. Not only are you helping people, John, because of the schooling, you're helping people who have been to prison, and they don't even have to be locked up to go through the schooling, but you are helping those type of people.
Also hire them as well.
And also hire them as well. But here's a guy behind the scenes, this guy David, who he's the same as all of us. You know, he's got the record. He served the time. So now what he brings to the table helps you help more people, the full circle.
It was crazy how we met. He actually came here, signed up for the electrical program. Wow. Paid out of pocket.
Wow.
Signed up for the class. He wanted to find a revenue stream, another revenue stream. It's hard out here.
Yeah.
Especially being a felon. And so he wanted another revenue stream, and then he got on the payment plan. I think he got to be halfway paid or something like that. And he got into class, and then he's like, John, come here for a minute after one of the classes. He's like, so I damper with doing a little bit of web design. And I can help you with your website. Your website's I was like, wait a minute, I built that website on Wix. He's like, oh, I'm not telling you like it's junk. I'm just telling you it could be a little better. And I'm like, he's like, what if I build you a website and you like erase what I owe you? And at the time I was like, nah, my website's fine. He turns his laptop around. This joker already built my website. He built me a whole website. Wow. Like my face was like, my face was like, what in the world? Then I was like, yeah, we good. How we switch over to that? He had it all built. He already built it to show it to me.
So Dave just does a lot and brings a lot to the table for JASA Inc.
Correct. He's a very special shout out to Dave, because he's definitely, without him during this COVID, it would have been a really rough spell. And we've been able to definitely sign up a ton of people. We're inside, like I said, the prisons and the jails virtually.
That's a hell of a thing. That's a hell of a thing. And something else that I want to mention, I'm trying to not make this sound like an infomercial so much, but, with the fact that you mentioned 5 weeks, 10 weeks, 40 hours, whatever it takes for a guy to be able to complete, let's just talk about the electrical for a moment. You said that a guy can be done with this class. You help put a resume together for them. You lead the horse to water with the job interview. You line up a job interview for them. And after completing the class, they're making, what, $14 to $17 an hour, you told me?
Correct.
Or the potential to make that
they
type of money?
They actually have a potential to make $19 an hour. So they are an apprentice. After that, they work for about 4 years in the field. And after 4 years in the field, they go to they can come back to us, take their journeyman's class, their journeyman's test, and then get their license, and they'll be upwards to I pay my guys $65 an hour.
Wow. I know people are probably listening to this saying, if this is done virtually, how are they getting the hands-on type of training? And you guys are actually providing a kit in line with the virtual learning that they're doing as well.
Correct. So we ship them a full kit.
We've actually got the kit right here. We're going to take a look at this. If you're listening to this, you're not going to be able to see what we're talking about.
So it's a 2-way, a 3-way, and a switch, and a panel. So they actually get a full kit.
So look at this thing right here. So this is, sorry about that. So this is what you send to them?
Correct. That's it. It's on hinges. It comes all apart. It's all labeled. It folds. They get to wire it all up. It's a 2-way, a 3-way switch, and an outlet somewhere over here, right here. An outlet and a light. And this is a panel box. And at the end of the panel box is an electric cord that plugs into a GFI so you don't blow up the house. If you wire it wrong, it just pops the switch. Insurance says we have to do that. It's electrical.
So you send one of those kits out to everybody who
every student gets one of those and a tool set. At the end of the class, after they test out, get their before they receive their certificate, they have to have that returned back to us. They keep the tool set. The reason why they keep the tool set is I also own an electrical company called Retrofit Lights On, and nobody shares tools. I don't know if anybody works in the construction field. If you share tools, you're not going to get them back. If you do, you might break them, and then you get them back like, oh man, my bad. Yeah. I broke these $80 wire cutters.
So you guys send out the kit. You give these guys tools as well. Put a resume together. Get them a job interview. I mean, this sounds like quite a bit more than any other trade school is going to offer. Well, I mean, I don't know if any other ones offer it, but it's a pretty sweet deal that you got going on.
The reason why we do the whole tool thing is if they don't, most of our clients are reentry. We are open to everybody, but most of the people can't afford to take the class, so we get them funded, and they obviously couldn't afford to get tools. Well, a lot of good the class is if you don't have tools. So we give you the whole set of tools, thanks to our partnership, and they're able to keep the set of tools. It's a starter set, and we tell our students that every paycheck, buy one tool. Because there's still some tools, and you'll learn about all the tools in the class. There's some tools like the rotosplitter. We don't include that because it's not needed. It just makes life easier. It's about a $55 tool, so buy it. Buy one.
Right.
Next week, buy another one. Buy something else. Next week, buy another one. Like a mechanic, you can't have all them tools at once. By the time a mechanic retires, they got about $100,000 worth of tools.
It's an amazing thing. You know, for a guy who comes home, he doesn't know anything. And I use myself as a perfect example. When I came, I don't have no trade under my belt. I've been a laborer my entire life. You know, yes, there are some trades in the prison. You guys are in the prison now. But it's limited. It's far and few between. Can a guy even get into the class? Is the wait too long? Regardless, for a guy like myself, when I first came home, who doesn't know how to do anything, this is a perfect opportunity for them to learn a trade and not have to be a laborer for the rest of their life. You know, and you mentioned giving a person a sense of self-worth and feeling like they can do it. Just getting that
The ambition just to go on again.
Right. The ambition is there. You know, hey, look, I can be making more than $8 an hour, more than $10 an hour. You mean that I can get funded to go to this school where, you know, potentially they don't even have to pay for this if they get the funding. And then after the 5 weeks or the 10 weeks or the 40 hours, they've got the potential to be starting in a job in a career field, making decent money.
We actually have a few students who are one of our original students that we've interviewed, and we have a video of them talking about it. And one of our students goes on to talk about he's married, he's got kids, he owns a house, he has a car. He would have never thought that he would be able to do that. He'd been in and out of jail, not just one time, in and out of prison. And just the thought that he could be successful in society. He's a success. He's paying his taxes. He's an asset to the community. He's no longer a burden to the community. And he owns a house, got the cars, got everything going, got the kids. He said he didn't think that was even a possibility when he got released. He got released and met us 2 days later.
You know, with the stuff that you do, John, what JASA Inc. does in an effort to help people, I'm so excited to be able to say that, you know, I'm going to be partnering with you guys and trying to help bring this schooling or this opportunity for this schooling, the virtual schooling, down to our area where it can be available to even more people.
Definitely. I'm excited as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a really cool thing. I'm glad to have, you know, After Prison Show be a part of that. You know, Banky's going to help with that as well. I'm sure he'll want to be a part of that. And that's just a really cool thing to say that you help people. Well, how do you help people? Well, let me tell you. Did you know about JASA Inc.? You know, that's a great start in the right direction in regards to that.
Right. It's and like I said, for you to come through what you come through to get where you at now, you should, you know, feel real proud of yourself. And what you're doing is you paying it forward, man. You're helping a lot of other people, so that's why your luck is going to continue. I wouldn't even say luck. You know, your streak is going to continue. You know, all the bad things that you went through, and you kept your faith. You kept on saying, I paid attention to you were saying in a lot of those different times, you were saying your faith, you believe, just like when you went to the bank. See, if you already believe, you already won half the battle.
You got it, exactly.
Yeah, you won half the battle right there. That's part of it.
And that's what a lot of these guys are missing. They
Right.
lost.
Yeah.
Because when you're inside, you lose that.
Right.
And so, like, a lot of the payback, and my trainer even says, the people hug him and they embrace him like, thank you so much. You gave me, not like, forget about even the skills sometimes. You gave me the faith and the belief that I can be somebody again.
That's where it starts at. It starts in your brain, your mindset, if you got to believe. Because like I said, when I was doing all the time that I did, if at any time I would have convinced myself that I wasn't going to get out, I would have gave up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I had to keep that in my head. I had to keep that mindset that, you know, better days was ahead. And that's what you did. And that's why you reaping the benefits of all of that right now. So I wish you nothing but more and more and more and more success, you know.
Thank you.
If I was you, I would try to, just a suggestion to when you said something about the coffee wood thing, I would try to get it in DOC, period. I would talk to DOC because DOC offers a lot of them trades within prison. You know,
They do,
yeah.
and I've been talking. I just need to meet the right person.
You meet the right person, man. You get that in DOC, and that would be huge. That would be monumental.
Especially since we can do it virtual. We could ship them the kits.
Right.
Come live on their TV because they got smart TVs.
And how cool would that be though?
Helping
from
flow.
DOC to providing for DOC.
Well, that's the funny part about it is Fairfax County was trying so hard to get me in originally. I was like, I ain't going in there. Last time you didn't let me out.
Right.
You know, like I don't want to go in there. And then finally I kind of, it's been a few years now. I'm like, all right, I think I could do this. And so we go into the county jail and run the class, and it's kind of funny. Like my mentor says this, it's funny now that they're paying you.
Yeah.
Things are, you're helping all these people.
All right. I think we should go ahead and wrap this up. It's definitely been
super long.
Couldn't have put it no better myself, Banky. I want to thank you, John, for once again opening your doors to us, sharing your story with us, sharing JASA Inc. with us. And if anybody wants any information about how they could potentially become a part of JASA Inc. and the trade school that you offer, we're going to provide information for that. So yeah, check the descriptions. We're going to have a bio, and you can find information on how you could potentially become a part of the schooling. If you need a better job, if you need a career in your life, if you want a fresh start, this is a great opportunity to be able to do so. And as we wrap this up, I've spoke way too much. John, I want to let you get the floor and ask, is there anything you want to say?
If you are interested, our website is jasainc.com, and come on out, sign on in to take a look at your the different classes that are available. You'll be able to. There'll be a phone number here coming up shortly that's going to be for the
Tidewater area. Joe the Rep. Something like that. I don't know what it is exactly. But yeah, definitely going to be trying to help people get involved in this. The more the merry, and it's just more people who get a better opportunity at life. Banky, what are your thoughts about all this?
I just think what he has accomplished so far is magnificent. It motivates me because, as I said, I only been out here 11 months. To see people like Joe who's been out here 5+ years and do what he did with the After Prison Show, and to see you doing what you're doing, that kind of stuff motivates me. People need to see that. I used to say that a lot in there. People need to see people that come from where we come from make it, opposed to just seeing people that's already made it and ain't never been through that experience that we had. So when I see people like you and Joe, that just motivates me to keep on going. And then, like I said, you got a real positive thing going on, man. So you're gonna be mightily blessed. So it's a pleasure to meet you.
Definitely a pleasure to meet you as well. And I think everything we've been through has made us the men that we are today.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Because I definitely was not the same person I was back then either.
Yeah, I believe in every lesson there's a blessing.
100%.
You're getting your blessings now. Definitely. Every lesson there's a blessing. So we learn as we go. And we just try to be better when we move forward, and you try to help somebody on the way. Exactly. You're doing that, in abundance. So, kudos to you.
I think we'll wrap this up. This was the 3rd episode of the After Prison podcast. We traveled for this one.
Yes, we was on the road. We took a road trip.
Appreciate y'all coming up, right? Up, yeah.
Yep, we came up here and
in the snow.
In the snow.
In a blizzard.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Yes.
But if we were going to travel to do any of these podcasts, we couldn't have picked a better one to do with you, John. So again, very special shout out to you, to JASA Inc., and we'll be looking forward to talking with you again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, man. 3rd podcast, more to come. This was worth the travel. Joe said this was going to be worth it, man. I feel like it was worth it. It was a positive thing. It was good, a good interview, and you gave out good vibes, man. So I wish you much success.
Definitely. Nice meeting you again in person.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Joe, again.
Not a problem.